whole time your day ones really aren't your friends. And I'm gonna speak on it. There's no room to complain, only room to do. Only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. Is it serving you? Probably not. Will it ever serve you if it hasn't been serving you? Probably not. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sheree, and if you're not new here, thank you so much for returning. Today is Christmas Eve. We are approaching 2025, and I wanted to go ahead and do the things that I'm leaving in 2024 and the things that you should leave in 2024. And that's just if you kind of struggle with these things like I do. This is what I'm going into the new year with, like my thought process and my take on what New Year's resolutions, because I'm not big on New Year's resolutions because I don't think you should wait for the year to change something up. But I do believe you should assess or look at how the year went for you and what you think you could improve on in the next year, or where you felt like you were lacking. So we're gonna just jump right into it. And if you see me looking down at my phone, it's because I have a little list, because sometimes I can just start talking and ramble and go on. And by the time I'm done, I'm like, did I even address every topic I wanted to? So the first thing for me is negative self-talk. And that is a huge one, and it's why I did it first, because it really does show up in your life, the way you perceive yourself or the way you talk about yourself. It definitely matters, and it's easy to have a negative perception of yourself or to even speak negatively about yourself. And it's honestly hard to break negative habits in general or just have a more positive outlook on life, period. And I feel like I did better in 2024, but I feel like in 2025 I can do even more. There's always room for improvement. I feel like in 2025 I can be even more positive when it comes to myself and the way I think of myself, the way I speak to myself, and the way I treat myself. So the way I'm leaving negative self-talk in 2024 is to give myself grace and have more compassion for myself, and just in general be way more kind to myself like you would. Hopefully you're kind to strangers. Treat yourself like you would treat others, because I feel like we're hard on ourselves, or at least me. I'm very hard and harsh when it comes to myself, because I like to show up a certain way and just I have certain perceptions of myself and goals, and if I don't meet those, sometimes I can have a negative thought process or talk negative about myself. And I feel like everything is a thought first, so you really have to start challenging your thoughts. And when you have a negative thought about yourself, oh, I failed at this, or I'm so stupid, or whatever negative thought comes to mind, you have to challenge and check that, because it's going to come out verbally, or you're going to start to think that way. And that's how you're going to start viewing yourself. And that's a habit, and it's hard to break that habit. And that's why I say a lot of people struggle with it. I would say you have to replace your thoughts. If you have a negative thought, you need to replace it with the opposite of that. And the opposite of a negative thought is a positive thought. So if you think, I'm so stupid for not being able to do that, or I can't believe I made that mistake, you need to go, I'm really smart, or hey, I'm allowed to make mistakes. You need to challenge your thoughts and address them. You got to check yourself, just like you would someone on the street trying to talk about you. If someone came up to you and said the things that you said to yourself, in a negative sense, you would be trying to fight, or you would be checking them. So you have to check yourself in that sense of not tearing yourself down or talking negatively on yourself. You need to act like someone else is doing that to you. You wouldn't let that slide, right? And if you would, you have some other things you need to address. But that is the first one. So this one is a big one for me. And another one that I know for a fact people struggle with is fear of failure. And one of my favorite quotes, and I'm looking at my phone because I don't want to butcher it, is only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. And that's by RFK. And that is huge for me, because it's very easy to get discouraged. If I don't do something right the first time, I get very discouraged, because I don't know, I have this thing to where I feel like I have to do everything perfect the first time around. And that's just not realistic or logical, because you do something for the first time, or just like try something, like you're not going to be perfect at it, or like it might not fully go your way, and you have to be okay with that, and you have to try again. And for me, I had to kind of reevaluate what failure meant to me, because failure isn't the end of everything, or failure doesn't mean you stop trying. It just means you need to try again or find another way to do something. I'm speaking from experience because I can't even tell you how many things or just different goals or things I wanted and tried that didn't work out the first time around, and I dropped it because I was like, well, that's it, I failed, like can't do that again, or forget this. And it's never been helpful in life. Like that mentality or that habit is not going to serve you at all. Like you can't just quit something because it didn't work out. You do have to be willing to fail to succeed. And if you don't do that, you're just going to quit at everything in life. And we can't go into 2025 like that. So we are leaving the fear of failure, because it's just a fear. It is just a fear. It's all in your head. And if you don't try, how will you ever know? Like, you're not going to know. And if you quit, how would you know? You quit. So you quitting is the end of the story. Failing isn't. The next one is really, I hate to admit it, I struggle with it a lot, and it is complaining. I am, or used to be, a huge complainer. Huge. Like, if it doesn't matter what it is, like I'm about to complain. And I realized that, I feel like towards the end of last year, I was like, wow, like I complain a lot. And for me, complaining is negative, or at least like, because I don't know how complaining can ever be positive, because you're complaining is not a good thing. And I realized that complaining does nothing. And it's a part of having a negative mindset, because you're not looking at the whole picture. You're focused on little things, or little things that you don't like in particular, and you're complaining about it. And when you complain, all you're doing is talking. It doesn't solve anything, it doesn't fix anything. It isn't helpful, and it's honestly annoying. Like, I've definitely like had people mirror me and they start complaining, and I'm like, it's the most annoying thing ever. And then I'm like, wait, this sounds familiar. It sounds like me. And that's when I realized, you know what? I need to stop complaining. So I do that with replacing my thoughts, because first of all, like I think a lot. And when I'm about to complain, like it comes through my head first, like, and then I say it like any other human. But I have stopped complaining as much as I like used to. And in 2025, I don't want any complaining at all, to be honest. Like, we're leaving that at the door, because there's no room to complain, only room to do. For me, people who complain are like Debbie Downers, and no one wants to be that, because the second someone starts to complain, like it just brings down the morale and the energy. Like, it doesn't matter what like scenario, what? It doesn't matter what situation or scenario you're in. Like, complaining, like no one likes a complainer. Like, no one. Because that means you're immediately picking out something negative about something. I hope I explained the next one well, because it's a little bit like, sometimes I have like a hard time explaining things, but the next one is the idea of regrets. And it's not essentially leaving regret. Like, it's not saying to have no regrets. Like, it's saying to leave the idea of regret. My idea of regrets is like what ifs. Like, what if I didn't do that? What if I did this? And it's kind of sitting with that, like, kind of like pit in your stomach, like a strong sense of regret. I feel like it really just is a mentality. And I feel like with this coming up new year, you should be doing everything you want in life, in a sense. Like, whatever desire or whatever you want to do in life, or just whatever you want in general, and how you want to live your life, and the things you want to go after but don't, that is where that idea or sense of regret comes from, and how those what if questions form when you aren't chasing what you want in life, or doing what you want, or living life how you want, or being honest with yourself. And I feel like that's how we need to go into the new year, because if you're living your life in that way and being honest with yourself and what you want, there will be no regret, or there will be no pit in your stomach or looking back in the past if you're living that way. That one is hard for me to explain, but I think I'm making it make sense. I hope I am. Ooh, this one's a fun one. We are leaving toxic relationships slash or and situationships in 2024. We're leaving those because is it serving you? Probably not. Will it ever serve you if it hasn't been serving you? Probably not. So we're leaving that behind in 2024. And I know a lot of y'all are like, oh, this doesn't apply to me. Like, I don't have toxic relationships. I don't do this. I don't do that. I'm going to sit here and say I've never had a quote unquote toxic relationship. None of my relationships have been like super negative and like really turbulent. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those connections that don't make you feel good, or don't serve you, or have no value. And when I say value, I mean in any sense, not in like value in a sense of using or if anything or beneficial things. Like I mean things that take from you. So I'm not saying like every relationship has to give you something, but what relationships are taking from you? What's draining you and what's not making sense? I'm talking about those type of relationships. I'm not talking about the toxic relationship or situationship. Like, she blew up my car, or she did this, or he did this, or they did this to me. Not in that sense. I just mean the ones that aren't fulfilling to you emotionally, spiritually, things in that sense. That is what I'm talking about. The people you entertain or like in a sense allow in your life say a lot about you. And that's just a fact. Birds of a feather flock together. That they don't say that for any reason. And I find that when you hang on to those toxic relationships or those relationships that take from you and situationships, you as a person slowly but surely lose your integrity. And the way you identify these people I'm talking about, or like how you see you have this dynamic with someone, is you have to ask yourself, is there trust in this relationship that I have? And I'm not just talking about like romantically, I mean like platonically, family-wise, like every type of relationship imaginable you can have in life. I mean, every single type. Like, do I have trust in this relationship? Or if you're looking at a person, is this person dependable? Is this person reliable? What are their values? What are their principles? Or do they have like a moral code that matches mine? Or are we even equally yoked? Or is this person just taking from me? Or why do I keep this person in my life? Like, those are the things you have to look at and address or ask yourself, because you yourself start to lose those things when you entertain or keep those people around you. You will start to lose your integrity or what you stand for, your values, when you're not equally yoked with someone or taking from you. They're going to probably take those things from you. And that is why we're leaving those types of relationships in 2024. I feel like this next one is very fitting based on what we just talked about. Really goes hand in hand with this one. And that is the no new friends mentality. Why not? Why no new friends? Because of what people say? Or because of how people think? Usually people tell you like, you need to stay down with your day ones, or you need to just have like one or two good friends. Like, you don't need a bunch of friends, or you don't need to hang around new people. And people get that twisted, because I will say there is some truth to that. Like, the no new friends, or just like what you hang around or who you meet and all that. It's all like true in a sense, but sometimes you are keeping yourself from very, very beautiful, beneficial relationships. When you close yourself off from new experiences and from new people, you're really just doing yourself a disservice, because I feel like in life, I just got this powder everywhere. Hold on. I feel like in life, we are blessed with new experiences and new things. We're shown different things, and as people, we really do evolve. Like, we are ever changing, and you kind of stop that evolution or stunt your growth in a sense when you have that mentality towards new things, new situations, and new people. You really do yourself a disservice, because you miss out on experience that could really be life-changing, and you cut yourself off from perspective. Because my favorite thing about new people and just like getting to know new people or meeting new people is perspective. Like, there's been plenty times where I meet someone, makes me think, and I'm a thinker, so I enjoy things like that. But sometimes I meet people that are just so different from me. I feel like when you have the no new friends mentality, you kind of rob yourself and another person of a connection or like a experience in life, because I feel like as people we need other people to experience things. You can experience and, you know, have thoughts and epiphanies and different things on your own, but I feel like with people we're meant to have experiences and we're meant to grow and change through other people. Like, I feel like that's how the world is supposed to work. Like, for me, it doesn't make sense now, because like back then it'd be like, yeah, you only need those 1 or 2 good friends, or you don't need to do this, or you need to stick around these people, or these people really care about you. Like, you never know with strangers and just different things, and whole time your day ones really aren't your friends. And I'm gonna speak on it. Sometimes those people that you've known your whole life don't have your best interest. Like, kind of like how people say, like, strangers support them more than people they've known their whole life. Like, it's like that. I feel like I'm rambling and I hope I'm making sense, but just be open to new people and be open to new things. Because if you're not open to new people, you're probably not open to new things either. So I guess in a sense, we're leaving a closed mind in 2024. Next thing we're leaving in 2024 is the past. And I mean the immediate past, not just like, oh, that was years ago, let it go, or this or that. I mean like yesterday. I mean like an hour ago. I have this one affirmation that says, I release anything of not today. And I came up with that for myself because I found myself ruminating on the past, or things that were out of my control, or negative experiences, or a situation where like I didn't like how it ended, or I feel like I was violated, or just anything that I just didn't like. I would ruminate on that. And one day I came up with the affirmation, I release anything I'm not today. And I say that often because it's easy to let things control you or to dictate your energy. Because something can happen to you today and you might bring it into the next day when it really has no business being in the next day. I love that affirmation because it lets you take back your power. Because when you bring things into the next day or you ruminate on the past, you are giving something or someone else your energy when you shouldn't let anyone else control how you feel or your emotions or a situation. Like, someone could piss you off really bad. Like, someone could be having a bad day and come and ruin your energy or say something to you or do something to you. It could be someone you know, it could be a stranger, and you have to leave it in that day, leave it in that hour. You cannot take it into the next day, because then you're gonna affect, damn, camera overheated. And I think it overheated right when I was like making sense of my point. I should have wrote down where I left off when my camera overheated and didn't, but I think I was on leaving the past in 2024, and I'm pretty much saying like, let certain things go, don't let things have power over you, leave that energy in the past. Just don't hold on to the past and negative experiences. Don't look in the rear view or turn around unless it's to reminisce on positive experiences and memories. Other than that, leave the past in the past. My next thing is actually very funny because it's something I'm feeling towards this video right now and every video I create, and it's perfectionism. Sometimes I could just be really ambitious and really focused on something turning out a certain way, and I'll just harbor on it and just keep doing something over and over until I feel like in my eyes it's perfect. And for me, this video was not going exactly how I wanted to go because I was struggling to find my words and not sure if I was explaining something well, because sometimes I do have trouble like articulating what I'm thinking in my mind. Like, I'll think a thought and it'll be like a complete thought and like make sense in my head and I have my own understanding of it. But the second I try to explain it to somebody, it doesn't sound right coming out. But I enjoy doing talking videos and like talking with you guys and just like diving into certain topics. So that's why I keep trying to do talking videos, because I really do enjoy them. But sometimes I struggle through them. But the whole point is perfectionism. Like, it's never going to be perfect. And when you try to be perfect, like, you don't leave much room for growth or improvement, and you stop your flow. Like, you will put yourself in stagnation trying to be perfect or trying to redo something over and over until in your eyes it's perfect. It's gonna stop your flow and your creativity, and it'll never be enough. Like, nothing will ever be enough when you're striving for perfection, because it does not exist. That's the simplest way I can put it. Grudges. And grudges are interesting because when you hold on to grudges, it's not healthy. Like, you're holding on to a feeling, to a resentment. It's not good for you and your energy, and it's not good for anyone else who has to deal with you. It creates like a bitterness, and sometimes you won't acknowledge it, but it will literally spoil you. Like, a grudge will spoil you. And I don't know if anyone listening to this is like a fan of horror movies or even likes watching scary movies. The Grudge, that's what that's about. Like, if you've ever seen it, I'm not going to get into like the plot, but the whole idea is of this family or this woman that was done wrong, and pretty much anyone who moved into the house like suffered or experienced her. No, it's not a good way to explain The Grudge. I'm messing up The Grudge. You guys know the classic movie The Grudge. It's literally about, it's a scary movie. It's like paranormal, but I'm not focusing on that. The reason it's called The Grudge is because it's someone holding on to a grudge. Like, and the grudge was like full of rage and like hate pretty much. And innocent people suffered at the hands of that because of something that happened. And the movie is pretty much like based on someone holding a grudge and it being like a curse. And that's what grudges are to me. If you haven't seen the movie, you probably won't get that example, but the whole point is hanging on to a grudge isn't going to do anything for you. So it's kind of like letting go of the past. You have to release the grudge too. Like, not just analyzing and thinking about the past, letting the hurt of the past go too. Or if it's towards someone or a thing, completely letting it go. Let the grudge go. Let it go. Like, whatever it is that's been bothering you for all this time, you have to let go of it because it's not serving you, and if anything, it's stagnating you and keeping you from better things. The next thing is bad money habits, and I say that like with a vagueness because when I say bad money habits, I mean multiple things, because everyone handles their money differently. Everyone has different strong points and weaknesses when it comes to finances. So when I say bad money habits, I mean bills, debt, or emotional spending or overspending, or just not knowing where to put your money. That stops in 2024. Because if you've been paying attention, you'll know that what you're doing with your money right now is very detrimental and important to your future just because of things happening. And we need to get that under control and manage that. In order to do that, you have to be honest about yourself, about what you're doing with your money and why you're doing it. And I'm just going to leave that point right there because you know where you can improve financially and what that's going to take for you, because everyone, honestly, it's going to be different. Next thing is a scarcity mentality. I feel like this one is talked about quite often, especially with finances, but it can be in anything. You could think there's a scarcity of money. You could think there's a scarcity of food or resources, a scarcity of love. Like, it can apply to anything. We have to let that go. The idea of there's not enough for everyone or there may not be enough for me. Because it's not true, but it can become true if you think that way or if you speak that way. You have to always believe that abundance is around the corner or that everything you need is available to you. This is just a really big world, and I want you to start thinking of scarcity as a mindset and not an actual thing. Scarcity is just a thought. A thought that puts you in fear mode, because now you're thinking, oh, there's not gonna be enough for me, or I can't do this because of this, or it's just not gonna happen. You have to always think with abundance. What's the word I'm looking for? Having a scarcity mindset is like seeing the glass half empty instead of the glass half full. It's all about perspective. And when you change your perspective, that's how you can start to get rid of a scarcity mentality and start to have a more abundant mindset and a positive mindset, because there's nothing positive about scarcity. So we're leaving that in 2024 also. The next thing is wasting time. So we are all told we have the same 24 hours, and that is true. We're all rotating on the same earth, but what is different is how we're managing that time. And that's what makes the difference. And why people think that they don't have the same 24 hours as another person, or that it's impossible to get certain things done, or there's just like a lack of time, or it's just flat out impossible. Like the time just doesn't exist for them. And that's just because you're not managing your time correctly. So not having time management, we're leaving that behind, because the things you can get done, you would be amazed. Like there's certain ways you can learn to manage your time. You can give yourself a schedule or a routine, or you can quite literally just like plan out every minute of your day, because the first thing you have to do is see where your time is going. Where do I spend my most time? Or, y'all, this video is trying to end me because why did my battery just die? And I'm like almost done, but I was saying something along the lines of managing your time. You have to see where you're losing your time in a sense. Like, where's your time going? Why do you feel like 24 hours isn't enough? What's happening? So the way I have started to improve my time management, because mine is really, really bad. Like I can waste some time. Like I can waste days because I just get distracted. And I think that's what it is. I think distraction is a major part of why people can't manage their time. There's so many things to get distracted by in this world. And for me, just planning, not like to always do this, but planning every like hour at least or minute of my day, or timing myself like on certain things really helps, because I used to take like 30-minute showers, and it's just like sometimes you want to have like that 30-minute shower where you could just relax and just, I don't know, enjoy the water hitting you. I like being in the shower, but I used to take 30-minute showers every day. Like not just like, oh, a little self-care Sunday. No, like every day I would just waste time in the shower. When in reality, like a shower could be like 10 minutes minimum. Like you don't have to be soaking in there for a whole hour. But that's where a lot of my time was going. And like, of course, I feel like everyone can relate to this. Being on your phone, scrolling, it's addicting. For me, timing myself, like, okay, your 30-minute showers need to be 10 minutes. And that's just until you discipline yourself to manage your time better. Like I'm not saying you have to time yourself on everything every day, just until you get the idea and the flow and the discipline of managing your time, and being responsible with your time. It helps to time yourself and just schedule things and give yourself a little bit of a routine so you're just not doing whatever. Okay, we are on our last one, and that last one is neglecting myself. And we all do it. We don't put time for ourselves. We don't give ourselves grace. We don't take care of ourselves like we should sometimes. Sometimes we give all that energy to other people or other things. And this year, or not this year. Oh wait, yeah, this year. And this year we are leaving that. We are leaving that behind, because that's how you get longevity. That's how you are the best you. That's how you put your best foot forward, when you pour into yourself and give yourself all your energy. Whatever that looks like to you, if it's giving yourself a self-care Sunday, or if it's taking that time to shut off from the world and pour into you, if it's doing the little things you enjoy, or picking up a new hobby, if it's choosing yourself over something, you have to stop neglecting yourself. I'm saying this because usually people who really care for others, or like show up for their friends or people, or like different people in their life, those are the people that neglect themselves. So the way to stop doing that is to treat yourself like you would treat your best friend, because really you are your best friend, and no one's gonna have you like you have you. So you're not doing anything for yourself by not tending to your needs and what's important to you. And honestly, you have to think to yourself why you're willing to care for other people and everyone around you and not yourself. Like, why do you feel comfortable showing up for people more than you show up for yourself? You have to look at that, whether that's like because of people pleasing, or just like you feel like you have to, or whatever reason that is. It shouldn't be that way. You need to show up for yourself first, and put yourself first, and not neglect yourself like at all. It's not even up for debate or negotiation. You need to take care of yourself first. When you pour into yourself like that, like a lot of things will be clear. Like, I feel like a lot of confusion stems around not taking care of yourself the way you should or neglecting yourself. Things just might start to make sense when you take that time to address your needs and take care of yourself and get yourself right before you're trying to be there for other people. That is the last thing I am leaving in 2024. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My comments should be a safe place. You know, you have those miserable people that wander in the comments, but my comments for the most part are supposed to be a safe place. But go ahead and comment something that you're leaving in 2024 or something that I did or didn't mention that you can relate to. But I would love to hear what you guys want to leave in 2024. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.